Alright guys, here's a few more examples of solving some equations with distributing and having variables on both sides. So this is hopefully noticeable again. There's variables on both sides here, right? So we need to be smart and we need to try and get the variables just to one side of the equation first. And what most people are going to do on this problem, so I'm going to do it this way, would be to distribute this 1/3 to each of these terms. Now let me just say, if you notice something like that, if it's a fraction getting distributed, it would probably be easiest in this problem to just multiply both sides of the equation by 3, because that would actually cancel out the 1/3. But again, I don't think most people are gonna do that. Everyone, when people see an opportunity to distribute, everyone just kind of jumps on it. So I just want to do it that way, just to show you guys, how to finish it out. So when we distribute the 1/3 times x, it's 1/3 x, and then 1/3 times the -9 is going to end up being -3. Okay, because it's really like dividing by 3 when you multiply by 1/3. So we're left with 2x minus 10 equals 1/3 x minus 3. Now what I would do here, I would, since there's variables on both sides, let's subtract the smaller one from both sides. And I'm going to try and get rid of that. Now we're still going to have the -3 on this side, right? That's still sitting there. Now on the left side here, it's 2x minus 1/3. So the trick is, think of 2x with a common denominator, with a denominator of 3, is really the same as 6/3. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of rewrite that. 2x is really 6/3x. So I can subtract the 1/3x to get 5/3x. Okay, and then that -10 is still part of the problem as well. Okay, now we've got variables only on one side of the equation, so that's good. Only variables right there, so we're going to do inverse operations and get the x by itself. We're going to get rid of that -10 by adding 10. Okay, remember, we're going to do any adding or subtracting before we multiply or divide when you're solving an equation. Okay, and -3 plus 10 is 7. And now what I want to do is, since it's 5/3 times x, okay, the inverse operation of multiplying is dividing. I'm going to divide both sides by the 5/3. Okay, and what's going to happen is, multiplying by 5/3, when we divide it, it's going to cancel out. And then the 7, to divide by a fraction, remember, to divide by a fraction, we multiply by its reciprocal. Okay, so we're going to multiply by 3/5. Throw a 1 underneath that 7 just to make it a little line up nicer. And our final answer then will be the 7 times 3 is 21, and 1 times 5 is 5. That should be our answer for part C. All right, part D, 8 minus x equals 3x plus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, so again, here's one. There's clearly an option to distribute. In this problem, this is probably what I would do, since it's not a fraction being multiplied, so I wouldn't really multiply both sides by something. I would actually go ahead and just distribute the 2 here. So the 2 times x is 2x. The 2 times the -4 is going to be a -8. Okay, now we can go ahead and do a few different things here. One thing that could happen at this step, which we probably should do right away, is combine these like terms. Okay, remember, like terms have the same variable to the same power if there were powers in here. So in this case, we have 8 minus x. The 3x plus 2x, if you have 3 of something and you add 2 of them, you now have 5 x's. Okay, and -8. Now in this case, there's still x's on both sides of the equation. So since one of them's a minus, let's go ahead and add x to both sides. Okay, what that'll do is it'll get rid of the x's on this side of the equation, and we'll just have that 8 that's there. And then the 5x, add another x, will be 6x. -8's still there. Okay, now we just need to work on getting x by itself using inverse operations. So it's 6 times x minus 8. So we need to get rid of the -8 first by adding 8 to both sides of the equation. Okay, 8 and 8, of course, is 16. And this side is just going to be 6x. So 6 times x equals 16. We don't want 6 times x. We want to undo that by dividing both sides by 6. That'll cancel out here. Okay, 16 divided by 6 is reducible down to 8/3. And that is our final answer. All right, and one other problem. Here's one again where we are distributing a fraction. And so your options would be to multiply both sides of this equation by 2. Okay, or again, we could just go ahead and just go right into the distributing. Okay, which again is what most people do, just because it's just kind of ingrained in your head. When you see an option to distribute, we kind of usually do that. But anyways, on this one, so the 1/2 times 18x, 1/2 times 18 is 9x. 1/2 times 8 is 4. Okay, and this side is still 6x minus 7 over 2. Okay, so again, we do have variables on both sides of the equation, so let's get rid of it. Let's do an inverse operation. Instead of having a 6x there, let's just subtract that 6x. As long as we do it to this side too, we'll keep everything in balance. 9x, take away 6x is 3x. The minus 4 is still there. Okay, this side we still have the negative 7 over 2. All right, now we can go ahead and add 4 to both sides, because we're trying to get x by itself, right? So let's add 4 to both sides. So that'll cancel out the minus 4. Now we have negative 7/2 plus 4, right? Now I want to write 4 with the same denominator as the first term, so 4 is really 8 over 2. Okay, so that 8 over 2 is really just the 4, and I needed it that way so that I could add these fractions. Okay, so negative 7 over 2, if I add 8 over 2, the numerator is negative 7 plus 8, which is 1. And the denominator is going to stay as 2. All right, now we just need to divide both sides by 3 to get x. So I'm going to divide by 3. Okay, x is going to equal, so 1/2 divided by 3, remember, is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. When you're dividing by 3, you're really dividing by 3 over 1, right? So the reciprocal of that, if we multiply by, would be 1 over 3. So again, just to kind of clarify what I just did there, I took the first term, since it was dividing, I changed it to multiplication, and I ended up doing the reciprocal of this guy, right? That's how you divide by a fraction. So 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6, and that is our answer for x. All right, so that was a few more examples, using fractions, using distributing, and then also things on variables on both sides of the equation.